Here on Carlton in half an hour, it's Coronation Street after Wish You Were Here.
Wish You Were Here and Vernon's Pools. Dreams are made of this.
Hello. Well, behind me is Aphrodite's Rock. According to legend, it's where the goddess of love rose from the sea foam. I bet she didn't have to climb over all these pebbles, though. Anyway, it's a story that's lured thousands of people here for many a year. Welcome to Cyprus.
Later, I'll be looking at a new idea, holidays in mountain villages. Also, John Carter travels along India's Old Spice route. And we join in an unusual holiday for people with disabilities.
Which is where we begin. Anne Davis has regularly reported for us on just how well facilities for holidaymakers with disabilities live up to their claims. This time she tries out a holiday which turns out to be very challenging.
Northumberland, not perhaps an obvious holiday choice, yet here is space, peace and history on a grand scale. Historic buildings dominate the landscape. This is Linden Hall, once the home of an early English industrialist. Set in 450 acres, it's now a country house hotel of some distinction. A two-night, half-board special offer costs £120 until May. You also get the full, free use of the leisure complex. If you really want to pamper yourself, try the hotel's beauty spa. Linden Hall has been graded by the English Tourist Board as having limited accessibility for wheelchair users. Northumberland has a wide range of accommodation, from country house hotels to simple cottages.
The National Trust own many great stately homes, but what is not so well known is the fact that they have self-catering cottages, such as this one, which has been adapted for disabled guests as well.
Springwell Cottage is in the shadow of one of Britain's greatest national monuments, Hadrian's Wall.
And that bit must be...
Housted's Fort is its most spectacular attraction, set on one of the wildest and least accessible stretches of the windswept Roman frontier. You'll need some hefty help from friends, even though it has recently been opened up to wheelchair users. But a proposed walkers' trail poses a dilemma. Will too many hikers destroy the wall's very fabric? This is another man-made attraction, the great stretch of Kielder Water, now opened up to tourism. Nearby is a most unusual and exciting holiday centre. The Calvert Trust is an organisation which sets out to offer opportunities and challenges. Its director is Peter Cockerill.
The Calvert Trust is here to offer people who may not otherwise have the opportunity the chance of accessing the countryside by means of the many sports and activities that we offer here. That's the first line. Equally important, but more along the lines of a hidden agenda, is the sense of achievement that the guests receive as a result of facing perhaps what for them is a challenge, could be on our climbing tower or sailing out on the water or whatever, overcoming that challenge and the sense of well-being that results from that, we hope, enhances their whole life as a whole.
Time to try something life-enhancing myself.
I have never sailed before. Now, that really was a dream come true. Great fun, very exciting, great thrill, a wonderful sense of freedom, feeling excited and alive, and with the wind coming up, you know, you really felt I'm sailing.
Right.
Again.
Staff and visitors work together to build a friendly relationship, essential for any holiday. The centre can sleep 50 people, but there are also some spacious, well-equipped self-catering chalets. Here, a family with a disabled child, parent or friend can all stay together. The Trust lives by its motto, it's not what you can't do, but what you can that counts.
I hadn't been on a horse for 8 years. I had to hang on tight, and going downhill I was really frightened, but it was wonderful to be that much higher. Now, I thoroughly enjoyed it, and they were so caring. They looked after me and they listened to what I had to say. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
The Trust is a non-profit making charity. People of all ages, all kinds of disabilities can enjoy a holiday here in a caring, friendly atmosphere. I flew home from Newcastle to Stansted, taking advantage of Care Flight, a service booked through Air UK that gives free help to disabled or elderly travellers. I also took home vivid memories of Kielder.
At the Calvert Trust, I think I felt the same as those small children who'd never done anything before. It's a long time since I was able to be adventurous, to do things, and I think it reinforced my sense of I can do what anyone else can do.
A week's stay at the Calvert Trust Kielder for disabled guests costs from £100 to £280 a person, depending on season, and that includes all meals and activities. A family self-catering chalet, sleeping 6, works out at £145 to £465 for 7 nights. An Air UK seat sale return fare from Stansted to Newcastle costs from £84 if you travel between Monday and Thursday, and you must stay a Saturday night.
News of long-distance flights at virtually short-distance prices, though minimum and maximum stay restrictions may apply. Return flights to Mexico City from Heathrow via Amsterdam can be had for £273 between now and March the 24th. From today till the end of April, a daily non-stop flight to Hong Kong is available for £499 from Heathrow. Heading farther afield, all the way to Australia, in fact, a special return airfare of £623 between London and Sydney is on offer until the end of March. From mid-April, a return fare of £695 between London and Cairns is available with a choice of Far East stopovers. Now, where would you rather be?
My favourite holiday destination is sunny California, and that's purely because I can't take very good holidays, but it's a good place to train. I wish I was there.
Cyprus is now one of the top Mediterranean holiday islands, helped along by a late summer season that extends into early November. But there's far more to Cyprus than just beachside holidays. History has left its mark all over the island, like this Roman amphitheatre here at Kourion. Nearly 2,000 years ago, people crowded in to watch gladiators pitting their wits against wild animals. The stadium held 3,500 spectators. An ancient staging point between Europe, Asia and Africa, Cyprus has been buffeted by conquests and battles. The landscape is an architectural storehouse. These mosaics are amongst the finest in the Mediterranean. They were in the house of a Roman nobleman. He obviously loved his drink because he named the house after the god of wine, Dionysus. The mosaics, along with other classical sites, are in Paphos, one of Cyprus's main resorts. Where old Paphos once prospered as the island capital, new Paphos now flourishes as a purpose-built resort, its streets trimmed with T-shirts, souvenirs and restaurants. It's compact enough to walk around, though taxis are cheap, about £2 from most hotels to the harbour. The tourism boom seems to be giving hotels priority over the general view. And we found the legendary Baths of Aphrodite on most sightseeing itineraries scruffy and disappointing. Cyprus was granted independence from Britain in 1960. Our influence remains there with lots of familiar little touches, right down to 3-pin plugs in hotel bedrooms.
You'll feel at home here. The signs are all in English and they drive on the left, but the local driving's a bit erratic, so watch out.
The latest hotel, the luxury Coral Beach. Generally standards are higher than in many Mediterranean resorts. A favourite with the British, the Paphos Beach, will cost from £705 to £819, 2 weeks bed and breakfast, through Cypriana this summer.
One of the lovely things about the evenings in Cyprus is that you can get together with a group of friends and try out one of the many little restaurants. And there you can have some of the local specialities. Meze, they're called.
And at the Happy Island, the food just kept on coming. All 17 courses of it.
And this does take all night. Well, this is more than a meal. It's a social occasion. You can only do it once on a holiday, really. It has taken hours to finish it. Oh, no, I don't believe this. Would you like a chop?
All for £6 a person. You can always work out on the beach.
Well, now we're heading for the mountains. See you after the break.
I'll be looking at how tourism can bring life back to remote villages. And we'll be joining John Carter in India. The Troodos Mountains are the green heart of Cyprus. Pine, cypress and cedar trees hide villages where traditions haven't yet been commercially eroded. That's quite surprising for a small island that welcomes thousands of package holidaymakers every year, but then relatively few visitors bother to explore the interior.
But one big problem, it happens all over the world, is that many villages are slowly dying as the young people move away to work in the towns. But the government is helping to bring life back by encouraging rural tourism in many different ways.
One of which is to restore village homes. You can stay in a house like this in Vasa. A specialist tour operator can organise self-catering package deals. And you'll meet the locals.
This is very good.
You find groups of men relaxing like this in many of the mountain villages, and they're always happy to pass the time of day and tell you about the lives they lead.
You have a very, very good life here, don't you? You gentlemen sit in the sun and drink coffee. And grapes. Yeah. And wine.
And men, good men.
You're good men. Oh, you're good men. Are you all good men? Well, wherever you stay on the island, a really exciting way of exploring the countryside is on a jeep safari.
You'll tackle parts reached only by four-wheel drive vehicles, like a Kursos, where the famous Cyprus cheese halloumi is still made. Locally, they serve it toasted. Only 4 families now live and work in this tiny settlement. Andronikoi is totally deserted. It was once prosperous, but the 400 inhabitants moved to the Turkish-occupied part of Cyprus following the 1974 invasion. Their place taken by 16 pigs and nearly 3,000 mountain goats. It's a haunting place, a tragic memorial to a country split by ethnic conflicts. A full-day trip organised by Cyprus Safari Adventure costs about £25, and that includes a picnic lunch. It's the perfect foil to the more conventional pleasures of seaside Cyprus. A fortnight's self-catering in a village home costs from £410 to £708 for a house with a pool, and that includes return flights and car hire. Sunville, the operator, has a wide selection.
Well, we're only 15 miles from the busy seaside resort of Paphos, but we could be in a different country. We move now to another country, one with even more strongly preserved traditions, and that's India. We follow the spice route south towards Madras with John Carter.
Kathakali dancers telling a story from the Hindu epics by means of controlled gestures and movement. Kathakali, the unique art form that is also a ritual. Kerala state is the home of Kathakali, and now ritual gives way to reality.
Well, this is the start of a traveller's tale, or rather a travelling tale. A journey to discover something more of the landscape and the lifestyle of Kerala, which is one of India's most southerly states. Just what the journey has in store, I haven't a clue, but we can find out together as we hit the Spice Trail.
It doesn't quite live up to the romantic ring of its name, at least not here, but it will, I'm sure. Though this isn't a seaside holiday, the journey actually began for me at the Kovalam beach and an overnight stay at the resort hotel. That was just to give us all a chance to rest before the next day's dawn start from the railway station at nearby Trivandrum. I seem to recall a Sunday newspaper which had the slogan, "All human life is there." It's a label that fits Indian trains. Now, though I enjoy train travel, I'm not one of your mad enthusiasts, and I approach this leg of the journey with some trepidation. I needn't have worried. It was payday for the railway man, and a travelling cashier, suitably guarded, was dishing out the wages in our carriage. A little farther along, the kitchen was getting fired up. Things were being sliced and diced, braised and boiled to be sold at the seats by chaps with trays and paper napkins. This was a no-nonsense train, not a palace on wheels tarted up for tourists, but heavy-duty, hard-working stock rolling its steady way north. The line swayed in and out from the coast, and 4 hours from dawn, we were in Kottayam. "This is where the Spice Trail really starts," said the bus driver who met us at the station. He thought his part of the journey was the most important. It was to take us roughly east, away from Kottayam and the coast, and gradually up into the hills. We stopped along the way, of course. In India, there are always good reasons to pause. We were heading to where the spices grew and to a wildlife sanctuary, but that was hours away. First, it was time for tea. The tea pluckers, all women, had finished their day on the terraced slopes and were gathering to have their harvest weighed, a solemn moment. I was told they're paid the equivalent of 35 pence a day, but the value of money is relative to circumstances, and they seemed happy enough. About a quarter of a mile later, we stopped at a roadside stall.
Chai karo?
For tea, of course.
Oh, there's irony for you. We're surrounded by tea plantations, but this is instant. Still, at least I know the water's fresh.
This is where I remember geography lessons at school, when India was pink in the atlas along with the rest of the empire, and textbooks had pictures of rubber tappers. But I never saw a picture of the rubber itself hanging like grubby tea towels out to dry. And so onwards and upwards through wonderful scenery and a less than wonderful bus that bruised the bottom. How glad I was to reach Thekady and our hotel. The Spice Village it's called. Easy to see why, for the spices grow all over the grounds, neatly labelled.
But the great attraction, of course, is to see the spices growing naturally, like this. Now, this is pepper growing as a vine.
Now, I never knew you had to climb a ladder to pick peppers. Did you, honestly? But the fellows were hard at it in a village close by, a real off-the-beaten-track village where the kids came out to enjoy our visit with unaffected pleasure. In Thekady are shops where visitors can buy a half-pound bag of peppercorns for 70p or a selection of spices for about the same price.
Nutmeg, clove, cinnamon, caramel.
The Periyar Wildlife Reserve and swimming elephants. You must get up early if you want to see the wildlife, and you go in launches out across the lake. Apart from birds and elephants, of course, there are wild boar and bison and tigers in the 300 square mile sanctuary. You'll be very, very lucky if you see a tiger, but the launches will get you very, very close to the elephants. The day had begun with a boat trip, and that's the way it ended after we travelled for 6 hours back down the Spice Trail to Alleppey. A backwater cruise took us over a lake and through canals as the sun set. These are Chinese fishing nets at Cochin, our next stop. Most travel documentaries and brochures feature them, and the usual cliché is to show them looking romantic at dawn. We thought we'd show you how they work and how the catch goes straight to the consumer. When it's not calling itself the Venice of the East or the Queen of the Arabian Sea, Cochin is a sensible and very busy port. It has lots of historic buildings, which include St. Francis Church, where Vasco da Gama was buried. Though he's not there now. It also has a Jewish quarter. The first emigration of Jews to Kerala is supposed to have taken place in the 6th century BC. But Cochin, which some call a museum city, is where this journey through Kerala comes to an end.
I said we'd discover this spice trail together, and we have. We've travelled by train and boat and bumpy bus. We've seen people picking peppers and plucking tea. We've seen swimming elephants and Chinese fishing nets, and now it's done. What fine images, what splendid memories this journey has given us to last forever.
A fortnight in India, with 4 nights on the Kerala Spice Trail and 10 nights in Goa, costs from £752 a person, bed and breakfast. Return flights are included. The operator is Inspirations India. And now it's competition time. Your chance to win a holiday for 2 to any of the destinations featured in this series or the last. The question, which sea is Cyprus in? Is it the Mediterranean or the Baltic? And the number to call with your answer is 0891 33 55 33. And the lines are open until midnight on Sunday. Last week I asked, which food is India famous for? Paella or curry? And the answer, curry. The winner has chosen a holiday in Jamaica.
And this is where we must take our leave of you. Where do our travels take us next week?
Anna Walker finds the taste of Italy in Sorrento and Ischia. John Carter explores the mysterious Isle of Man. And I'll be in the tropics, on the islands of the Maldives.
And now from the heart of the countryside in Cyprus, bye-bye. See you next week.
Wish you were here and Vernon's Pools. Dreams are made of this.
A fact sheet produced in association with Thomas Cook lists a selection of holidays to the destinations featured this week, gives general advice and a relevant recipe. Please write for fact sheet 12 to Post Office Box 50, Bromley, BR2 9TT.